So 1917 comes to us from director Sam Mendes, who also writes the movie, and it is a pretty simple, straightforward movie about two guys that have to deliver a message to a battalion of English troopers in World War I, telling them to call off an invasion that they have set for the next day.
You have a brother in the 2nd Battalion.
Yes, sir. Is he alive?
And with your help, I'd like to keep it that way.
It's a super simple premise, and what the movie does very well is that it looks incredible. I think if Roger Deakins didn't shoot this movie the way he did, it would completely and utterly fall on its face. Roger Deakins carries this movie.
It never uses the same location twice. Who was up for this daunting task? Cinematographer Roger Deakins.
The main gimmick of the movie is a faux one take, and that means that the whole movie is shot to look like it was all done in one single shot. Now, of course, there's pretty obvious edits where the camera goes behind a rock or a tree or something, obscuring the character so that it can cut and then, retake with a new scene, with a new take. And the whole movie is staged like that, and sometimes it's pretty distracting because it does that a lot, where it goes behind some rubble, or it goes behind a rock, or it goes behind a tree, or it goes behind a wall. That happens a lot, and it gets kind of distracting, but without this gimmick, the movie, I think, would simply not work, because it's all set in a short amount of time, so having it be this faux one take creates a lot of momentum and a lot of drive to the movie that would not have been there otherwise, because these characters are just running through this terrain to try and get to this battalion before they go and attack the German front line, and so it artificially creates this motivation for the characters to be moving and for the plot to constantly be moving, and I think it really works. The problem is just about everything else. If I were to sum up this movie in one sentence, it would be 10 out of 10 execution, 3 out of 10 story and characters. I simply did not care at all about what was happening to whoever it was happening to.
Your orders are to deliver a message calling off tomorrow morning's attack. If you don't, we will lose 1,600 men. Your brother among them.
The whole movie comes down to, oh, that was pretty lucky, or oh, that was pretty unlucky. And that's the entirety of this movie. Things just happen, and then the next thing happens. And that's about it. The entire movie is just one set piece after another, happening over and over and over again for 2 hours, and little connects the scenes together outside of this long one take. I mean, you have these characters running into a bunker, and they see this tripwire, and then a rat just falls on it. And I went, oh, it's gonna be that kind of a movie. So the movie starts off with these two characters that you see throughout the rest of the movie sleeping. They get called into the general's office, and he says, you gotta deliver this letter, and you gotta be there in like 24 hours, or 1,600 people are gonna die. And so they run off, and they go over to the German front lines, and then you get the bunker scene where a rat drops on the tripwire, they get exploded, and then they run out of the bunker. And then after that, they start walking around, and from this point on, the movie spirals into boredom. There are so many scenes in between the set piece scenes where characters are just like chit-chatting, and it was the most intensely boring parts of the movie. There are so many scenes that felt like just fat or filler that in any other movie you would just rip out. The problem is that since it's a one take, you can't do that.
There's always that sort of get out of jail card that you have with the movie. Well, you know, we might be able to cut around this, or we might take that scene out. That's not possible on this film.
So you just end up with these long-winded scenes of filler. And this scene, where they come right out of the bunker, is one of those scenes, where they're just walking, and a guy tells a story to the other guy, and then, oh, there's some cherry trees on the ground. Oh, let me tell you about the trees. Hey, oh, look, there's our next set piece we have to go to, so let's go. And it's like 10 minutes of them just talking about nothing that matters. It's such a filler scene, and I can't believe that it's still in the movie. This is a type of scene that you just do this, and up, and then we just get on with it, because it doesn't matter.
I hoped today might be a good day. Hope is a dangerous thing.
But then we get this scene on this like farmhouse where there's a dogfight that just so happens to be happening right next to them, which is another thing that happens throughout this movie, is that chaos is just right next to them at all times. And so there's this little dogfight going on, and this German plane gets shot down and just so happens to crash right in front of them. And they pull this German guy out of the airplane, and what's a German guy going to do to these English officers? Oh, he's going to try and kill them. But the guys say, oh, let's try and help him. So a guy goes over to get some water, and of course, he tries to kill them. So he stabs one of them, and then the other guy shoots him, and then that guy that got stabbed is now dead, who was the brother of the guy that is in this battalion that's going to get killed. And so he ditches him there, and just like that, an entire convoy of people just shows up out of thin air. There's like 4 trucks of troopers that are just there with officers and officer cars, making a bunch of noise even though nobody heard them coming. Where did they come from? There's just like a main road right next to them. Why weren't they taking the main road? Where were these other guys going to or coming from? Everyone thought that the Germans were still around, right? So why were they there? Why did they just show up? It's such a lazy storytelling device to have people just show up to help the character. The remaining character then goes with them. They get stuck in the mud, and they push the car out, and then, oh, a bridge is down, so he has to leave them too. But that is also another 10-minute filler scene that does absolutely nothing for the overall movie. He's just in a car, they push a car out of some mud, and he gets out of the car. That's the scene. What is going on? But then the problems become exponentially worse when the movie just forgets that the convoy existed. After the character gets out of the car, he is immediately shot at by a German. But even though there's like 100 guys like 15 feet from him, they just don't do anything. He gets shot at and it has to take him out alone, even though there was a whole troop of guys. Where do they go? Why didn't they help him kill this German dude?
Let's talk about this for a minute.
Why?
So then the German and him shoot each other, but the German happens to hit him in the head, and he falls down the stairs and gets knocked out, which creates more artificial tension because he's running really low on time and he has to really book it there now because now it's dark and he has to be there by morning. He would have made it there pretty easily otherwise. He would have made there with a bunch of time, so we have to artificially create tension by him getting knocked out in a pointless scene that could have been completely changed if the troop of guys that was there 2 seconds ago helped him out. Ugh. But then he goes into these ruins that are just right next to him, and he gets attacked by one guy, which is another prevailing theme. Anyone that attacks him is just like one dude. It's always one dude. It's not a troop of guys. It's not even a group of guys. It's not even 3 guys. It's always just one guy that attacks him. So he either easily takes him out or just runs away. And that's what happens in this scene. He just runs away from him, and then he slips into a little house where a French woman and a baby she doesn't know is just hiding. Why are they there? The city is on fire and in ruins. Why is she still there? Why didn't she leave? What is going on?
There is only one way this ends.
So they have this scene where they talk for another 10-minute filler scene, and then he just leaves. And then immediately sees a German guy who's very drunk, and he kind of tries to sneak up on him, but there's another German guy. And so he grabs him and puts his hand over his mouth and says, "Don't scream." And the guy goes, "Okay, I won't." But he's a German guy. So of course he screams. So the guy then has to take him out, and he's choking him out. And then the German guy, the drunken guy, wanders in, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And then instead of also taking that guy out, our main character, who just killed an able-bodied dude, just like bumps into him and runs for no reason. But I guess if he didn't kill this drunken officer, then it wouldn't have led him to jump in this river that conveniently leads him right to the battalion he's looking for. This convenient river that he's conveniently in because he conveniently didn't kill a drunken officer of the German army leads him directly where he needs to be. And so he runs and gets to Benedict Cumberbatch just in time to call off the second wave of 4 that are trying to attack the front lines. And that's the entire movie that I just summed up. It's a 2-hour-long set-piece extravaganza stitched together by the most nonsensical of plotting I think I've seen in at least a war movie in a long time. There is very little that drives characters places except the script just saying, "Hey, this happens now. One of the guys just died. Well, there's a troop transport that he's just gonna get on. Oh, well, now he's got to abandon them because we have to have stakes, so he gets attacked by one German, and the troops don't help him, and then he goes and...
Good luck.
That's it. That's the whole movie. It's incredibly frustrating because the technical stuff is so amazing. It really is a 10 out of 10 technical movie and a 3 out of 10 scripted movie. It's so frustrating. And that leaves it in no man's land of about a 6. It's like a 6 out of 10. I feel like it could have been so much. The gimmick of the one take is so cool. Roger Deakins is so talented. These actors are so talented. Sam Mendes is such a great director. And then they just did nothing with the script. They just did nothing. Ugh.